What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how, as a believer, as a follower of Christ, you can go about a cut or a fat loss phase. Is it biblical? How do you do it? What does it look like to want to get leaner or want to look better as a follower of Christ? Is that a biblical thing? Should we avoid that altogether? And so that's what we're covering in today's video. Today's Tuesday lunch hour live, Tuesday noon Central Standard Time every single week. Be here. But let's get right into it. So today I want to have this more as a conversation, more of just kind of wrestling with this topic. This is something that I personally have wrestled with myself. And so I want to just kind of have that conversation with you guys here on YouTube and kind of talk through some things that I've thought about. I have a little bit of notes here, but I want to mostly just kind of speak from my view as a faith-based fitness nutrition coach and kind of see what your guys' thoughts are on all of this and just kind of go from there. So first off, I think we have to have a few things clear. First, we have to realize and acknowledge the world's way of fitness. The fitness industry is not how we as believers want to go about our fitness. The fitness industry is widely all about drawing attention to yourself. It's pride based. It has a lot of sexual components to it. It is just very attention seeking um, and vanity focused. I think that's really the best way that I can put it. And so we have to realize that is not what we're going after as followers of Christ, right? We are called to be set apart from the world. We live in the world, but we are not living like the world does. And so that would be the first thing that I would say and go after. And then from there, we have to also realize a couple things. Number one being that our bodies are vessels that God has given us. And so, as believers, and especially as men, we have a responsibility to steward them well. We have this gift that God has given us, and we are called to take care of our bodies. Now, again, it's not like the world does. We're called to again steward that body that God has given us, just like our money, our time, all of these things that God has given us and put in front of us. We are called to steward those things well. And then on the other side of that, okay, so we're not going about fitness as the world does. So does our bodies and our fitness, our health really matter at all, right? Is spiritual health is the most important thing. So does it really matter at all? Does our health matter at all? Well, again, I would go back to okay, this vessel is what God is going to use to reach people, to serve the ones that you love, to do all the things that God has called you to do to your fullest potential, right? If you're not healthy, then you're not able to do all the things that God has called you to do to your fullest potential. So, neither one of those ways being or ignoring the physical health or going about fitness as the world's way, making it an idol is biblical. So, again, going about it in a way that honors God. And so that is really where the foundation has to be before we even get into the conversation of how to go about a cut or anything like that. We have to have that foundation of mindset and identity before we go into anything else, which is where we start in phase one with all of our clients is that foundational phase, building the habits, building the mindset, identity in Christ, all of those things. And then once you have that, now we can go into this kind of transformation phase, this fat loss phase, this cut, whatever you want to call it. Now we can go into that with a good mindset and a good identity going into it. So what does that look like? How do we go about that? So I think the first thing that we have to do is start with the why behind you're going about this cut. Why do you want to do this? Now, again, because we built that foundation, it makes this a lot easier. We're not going about it because we're going to draw attention to ourselves. We're not going about it to, you know, whatever you want to put in the blank there. We're going about it to honor God with our bodies so that we can be healthy, so that we can serve the ones that we love to our fullest capacity. And losing weight is not a bad thing, right? It is not something that is vanity focused. It doesn't have to be, at least. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. And so then I think later on when we talk about the looking better as a follower of Christ, I think that's where we can get a little blurry, a little muddy in that conversation. But in terms of losing weight and being a healthy weight, that I think is pretty easy to understand for a lot of people. Is being a healthy weight is going to help you be capable. It's going to help you do all of the things, right? So being able to be the parent that you want to be, being around for your grandkids, going on that hiking trip with your wife, being able to do all of those things. And so with that being said, now that we have kind of your why, viewing it also coming about this and in the midst of it when it's hard, when you're going through this cut, viewing these things as discipline and not as punishment too, in the sense of, okay, I'm not doing this all just because I am fat. I want to do all of, I want to look better, all of these things. It comes from a place of, no, I'm going to nourish my body, take care of my body so that I can be my best. And so again, just a simple mindset shift there and coming about it in a little bit of a different way can make a huge difference. So then as far as actually how to do it, the practical things, the doing part of it. So we've kind of talked about the being part of it, but as far as the doing part of it, I want to make this as simple as possible and keep this as easy as possible. Now, with clients, obviously, we're going in a lot deeper on all of these things, but just to make it easy and simple, first off, again, you have to have that foundation not only in mindset, but in your habits, your training, your nutrition, all of those things. You have to have a solid foundation, a solid set of just good health. And that can also be metabolism wise too. A lot of clients, we help increase their metabolism first before we get into a fat loss phase. So that way we can work with their body rather than against it. So assuming that you have all of those things figured out, going through a fat loss phase is not as hard as you may think it is. Again, as long as you have those things figured out. And that's what a lot of people don't have figured out is you have to kind of have that foundation built. But once you do, then all you simply do is pull some basic levers. We're going to subtract about 500 calories from your maintenance calories, and that's going to put you in a calorie deficit of about that 3,500 calories for the week. And we know that about 3,500 calories of a deficit is going to be about a pound of fat loss per week. So that's a great place to be. And also, again, if your metabolism's in a good spot, then that's not going to be so low that you're going to feel super low energy. It's going to mess with hormones, anything like that. It's a good spot to be. It's not too extreme. It's also going to be to a point where you are going to see some progress. So, once you kind of have that, then another thing super important is the protein side of things. We want to prioritize protein so that you can maintain or even build muscle. If on that side, it's going to be more if you're a beginner to this, if this is something new, then you can build muscle while being in a calorie deficit in those beginning stages. It's a lot harder to do as you get into it, but for the sake of the video, that's a whole nother topic. So anyway, getting in your protein. Now, what I recommend with this is 1 gram per pound of your goal body weight. And this is something that you can work up towards. It doesn't have to be all at once, just shooting for the moon with this. I found if you shoot for the moon and go straight to that end goal, then it's going to be really hard to continue to do that. And so it's better just to start with the basics, start building the habit and increase over time. Then the third thing that I would focus on, the last thing with your nutrition is going to be eat 80% God foods. And what I mean by that is what foods has God made in the purest form? These can be the foods that you could go get from the farm. So think about fruits, vegetables, any kind of plants, those kind of things. But then also any kind of single ingredient meats, eggs, all of those things are what we want to be consuming, right? Simple single ingredient things. And so that's kind of the easiest way to think about the nutrition side of things. Now, obviously, we can bring in recovery. We've talked about the mindset a little bit, but the other thing that I want to bring up is the activity and the training side of it. So, with that, I want to keep it again really simple. I want you to do 2 or 3 days of full body strength training. Now, again, we don't have time to get into the details of all of that. I do have some videos and some resources on some of those things. If you guys want to message me on Instagram, I can shoot you over some of those resources. So, 2 or 3 days of full body strength training. What that's going to do is help you maintain the muscle mass, and it's going to help you get that lean, toned, strong look and ability and functionality that you want. So, 2 to 3 days strength training. And then on the other side, we want to increase and focus on our steps. Now, again, if you're at 2,000 steps, we're not going to bump you up to 8,000 overnight. I just, again, it would be hard to maintain that. What we want to do is increase maybe by 2,000, 1 to 2,000 steps for a week. So if my average, take your average and add 2,000 to that. So if my average is 2,000, then I'm going to shoot for 4,000 this next week. Do that for 7 days and then maybe increase it another 1 to 2,000. End goal, you want to be somewhere between 8 to 10,000 steps is what I've found to be doable, but then also you're going to get a lot of the benefits that you're looking for in terms of health, weight loss, and all of those things. So that's kind of the step side of things. So we've gone over the mindset, we've gone over nutrition, we've gone over the training, the activity. So the only thing that we haven't really gone over is the recovery side of things. And again, just want to touch on the surface level basics of this, but getting in good sleep. A lot of people think the more I do, the better off I'm going to be. But that couldn't be farther from the truth. Recovery is where your body is going to do the work. It's going to do the magic is in the recovery. So yes, part of that is the nutrition that we talked about, but also getting in good sleep, 7 to 8 hours of good quality sleep. And then from there, we want to focus on, we talked about the walks and getting your steps in. That can be a really good time to kind of use as stress management, getting in a prayer walk each day, doing some journaling and getting in the word and casting your cares right? These are all biblical things that we want to implement to help with some of that stress management side of things, especially you guys as leaders in ministry or business, whatever it may be for you. So now we've kind of covered all of the basics as far as going about a cut. That's going to give you some good first steps in this and get you going into everything. Now, if you guys want help specifically on this, I've got a free biblical fitness assessment that you guys can go take. It's in the description of this video. Be sure to check that out, completely free. You go in, it'll give you a biblical fitness score. After you take the assessment, then you can put in your email and it will send you a personalized roadmap for you. And there is also limited spots available for a free breakthrough session as well, if you guys want that also to build out a completely customized plan for you. So, something nobody else is doing. And this is something that you guys definitely need to hop on and take advantage of. So, be sure to check that out in the description below this video. Now, moving on to that second question, is it wrong to want to look better? What does that look like as a follower of Christ, as a Christian man, to go about the aesthetic side of things? Is that biblical? What does that look like? And there's a few things that I personally have been wrestling with within all of this, and what what I think we can take from this and apply to our life. So the first one being again, it goes back to the heart posture. I think that is the biggest thing that we need to remember. The heart posture in it all of why we're doing it. Are we going about it for a selfish reason, or are we going about it in a way that honors God? And obviously, if it honors God, then right, like it is something that we can do. It is something that we can go about in a godly way. And so that would be my first question is, why do you want to look better? Is it to draw attention to yourself like we talked about earlier? Is it to want to look better for your wife, right? Like I don't think that's a bad thing. I certainly want to look my best, do my best in every area for my wife. And so I think that is something that comes up for me is, okay, why do I want to do this? And being really careful about that, having a heart check every now and then of, okay, I need to realign on this of why I'm doing this. And then another thing that I want to bring up is your your physical appearance, your body. And I want to be very careful how I say this. It can be an opportunity to display discipline. Now, I don't mean that in the way of, again, drawing attention to yourself, showing off, whatever that may be. That is not what I'm saying here. But I want you to think about, if you were in good shape, how would that affect if you met a stranger and you were telling them about having spiritual discipline and chasing after Christ in every area of your life, and they looked at you and they thought, wow, this guy is, he lives this out in every area of his life, including his health, right? I think there is a little bit of that side. Now, again, we don't want to get caught up in drawing attention to ourselves and, hey, look, I'm disciplined and prideful about it at all. That is not what I'm saying. But I think there is that piece of it that we can definitely consider when it comes to this conversation. Again, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. If you guys have thoughts on this, let me know in the comment section and tell me what you guys think about this. Is it biblical to want to look better? How do we go about this? Um, what scripture would you bring to mind when it comes about all of this? For me, I think about First Corinthians 10:31. This has been recently something that I've talked about a lot, and something that I've thought about a lot is, whether you eat or drink, whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. And so if we're going about this for the glory of God, then right, that's kind of our heart check. Are we doing it for ourselves, or are we doing it for the glory of God? And so I think that's really where where I'm at in all of that is, yes, I do think there is a biblical way to go about this, a biblical way to go about a cut, and a biblical way to want to look your best and be your best. Now, again, let me know if you guys have any other thoughts on this, but that is, again, kind of my thoughts on everything. Be sure to check out the biblical fitness assessment. And if you guys want a personalized help with all of this one-on-one coaching, be sure to check out the description below this video as well. I've got a link to apply for one-on-one coaching and to get into the program. So hope you guys have a blessed day. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely something that is worth wrestling with and worth exploring a little bit more. So have a blessed day, and we'll see you guys in the next video.